The pre-established notion which exists in the world, claiming Black Africans as an inferior race only meant for manual labor work, obviously has its roots centuries back. In today's video, we will unwrap the perceived threat of Black Africans that has not been told before. Let's scrutinize to bring the Black culture back on the surface again, shall we? Have you ever thought of the prejudices surrounding the Black Africans and thought there's got to be a reason behind it? Well, it turns out there is. Unfortunately, our standard history books will never teach this to the students, nor will the politicians ever talk about it. But why is it so? Were the Black Africans always an inferior race, or have we been manipulated by our ancestors into thinking so? Black Africans, who are considered the pioneers of most things like the establishment of human civilization, science, mathematics, and literature, were suddenly devalued on global platforms. During this exact time, the white Europeans emerged as the superior race. This video is all about aiming to clear the air around some of the biggest misconceptions we have been forced to believe in. We will also discuss why Europeans saw Black Africans as a threat and carried out this master plan of belittling the whole race. Buckle up your seatbelts and let's hop onto this ride. Physical appearance. Well, you will be shocked to know that something as basic as physical appearance was used as a weapon to derogate people who were naturally born in a certain way. The dark skin complexion, plum lips, and fuzzy hair were claimed ugly by the then white media, mostly white Europeans and Arabs. The Black Africans being Poles. Apart from the white Europeans in terms of appearances were sidelined and termed as different. Due to high melanin content, the quality and durability of Black skin were much better than the non-Blacks. The inferiority complex surfaced in the white Europeans' mind, so they straightaway considered people with lighter skin color as superior, while the ones present on the darker side as inferior. Alexander Crummell was one of the first Black African activists to raise his voice against these injustices. Genetic testing. Well, this is an interesting trivia we bet your history teachers have never taught you. As per world researchers, Europeans have 4 to 20% similar gene pairs as Northwestern Africa. Yes, you heard it right. That's not it. Every person in the world has slight traces of Black African genes in their genetic constituents, which is enough to prove that Black Africans were the common ancestors of each one of us. Studies have shown that not Asia, not Europe, but Africa was the center of the world millions of years ago. The concept also traces the connection between us and the early men who resembled a typical Black African. The Europeans still deny this concept, as it will instantly push the Black Americans to the surface of power. Physical strength. Without any doubt, Black Africans are one of the strongest people the world knows in terms of physical ability. They are built in such a way that they are naturally agile, strong, and charismatic. The white Europeans were threatened that the Black people would one day dominate all over the world using their physical strength. Hence, their inferiority complex forced them to categorize professions. For example, they mostly used Black Africans as laborers while they sat at important round conferences. They distinguished the laborers as a low-class profession and the officials using the brain as much more important. Black people were already well established before colonization began. They were the richest of the richest and resided in lavish, gold-laden cities. The Europeans got insecure about their progression and tried their best to tear them down. They portrayed the strong Black Africans as an inferior race so that their fragility could be justified. Genetic annihilation. As most of us already know, Black genes are super dominant when it comes to inheritance. The non-Black people felt threatened whenever a white person married a Black one. They thought the Black genes would keep dominating over time. As a result, white genes would be completely abolished from the face of the earth. This is the reason why non-Blacks were not allowed to have children with Black partners and sidelined Black Africans like anything. Apart from this, the constant mention of African wealth in old Arabic scriptures is a sheer example of how African accomplishments are so underrated. Africans were denied basic rights like education during British colonization, and so were labeled as uneducated and backward. This is the reason why Black Africans migrated to other countries like America and parts of Europe to acquire education. New Age activists and movements like Black Lives Matter have been given a chance to Black people to acquire their basic rights even in 2023, but the reality is otherwise.